from the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus is preaching to the people. And this is one of those things that we pretty reliably know is probably something he authentically said because it was passed down for 50 years. And it's a short and pithy kind of statement. It kind of strikes you as, oh, it's pretty specific. They take you to court and they want your shirt, you give them your coat also. So, and what we have been looking at is what that means is don't be defensive and don't be attached to your stuff. And at the beginning of the month, I talked about going to my storage locker and dumping about 20 bins of stuff in storage. And my goal now for this month is to have nothing in storage by the end of the summer. That the storage is emptied. And I heard back from some of you who were here that first Sunday of the month. You went home and you cleaned out some of your storage. If you were somebody who did something to release and let go of stuff, put your hand up in the air. Okay, good, look at that. All right, half the people here did something. It's just a little thing matters. Little things matter. Sometimes 20 storage bins matter to me more because they're not just one storage bin, mattered a lot. So don't be defensive and don't be attached to your stuff has been what we've been working with. The talk this morning is called Trust Source. See, the notion of somebody coming at you to take something away from you is you have somehow identified with that thing that you think you're going to lose. Like you're going to be diminished if that thing was gone. And that's why Jesus is saying, not only is that not you, but the other thing is not you also. Neither of those things are you. Who you are is not your shirt and it's not your coat. And if you were attached to your coat or attached to your shirt, then somehow you were identifying with that thing. And yes, somebody can come by and take your stuff, and then you're diminished. But he's saying that's not who you are. Who you are is not your coat and not your shirt. And as evidence that you're not your coat and your shirt, that's why he wants you to make the practice of giving it away. Give it away so you're not attached to it so that you can... Now, some people like St. Francis, you know the story about St. Francis, he gave away everything. And I'm not saying that we live in a world where you can do that. I mean, Jesus didn't have much. He had the clothes on his back, and he walked around as an itinerant, as Reverend Margaret likes to call him. An itinerant preacher walking around with nothing. It doesn't work so much in today's world that we live in. But the notion of trusting source is still valid. Trusting source will protect you. Trusting source will sustain you. Trusting source will guide you. That's the key message here, that you don't have to worry about the stuff that you've got, because the stuff that you have isn't you. Ernest Holmes is one of my teachers, not direct teacher, but somebody that I've learned from. He says there's more good in the world than we realize, and it is this good in each other that we wish to bring out. Sometimes we feel that if we could change the world in a minute through some miracle of love, all would be well. And this is true. But, there's a but there, but the world is made up of the people who live in it, and that means you and me. You will have to begin where you are, and I will have to begin where I am right now, today. So he's taking into consideration that, yes, you want to bring good out into the world, we want to bring out the good in others, and yet we live in a world where not everybody is on that path, not everybody's on that same journey. So we have to start with where each person is. Where each person is where we have to begin that journey. We also looked at this chart last week. Reverend Margaret looked at this chart, and I'll walk you through it. The first place that one can live, not the first place, but a place where one can live, where it's contrary to this notion of trusting source, is this low participation, low attachment, which I call apathetic. You're not engaged in your life and you don't care. You're not engaged in your life and you don't care. You're not participating in your life, and you're not attached to anything. So it's just, and we all know people who are like this. And we all, from time to time, could actually visit this country. Be tourists when you go here. Don't take up residency here. Be tourists. Low participation, low attachment is apathetic. Now, when you start to get interested in your life, you actually move from apathetic up to victim. Victim is actually a better place to be than apathetic. What victim means is you're not participating in life, but you're attached to some kind of result. The result's actually important to you. And victim is always, sometimes it can be a derogatory term, and I don't mean it as a derogatory term. If you're parked in your car and somebody rear ends you, you're a victim of that action. You didn't participate in it and you're attached. Why? Because you like your car and you think you're your car, right? Some people can have a car accident and go, okay, let's call insurance, no big deal, we'll work it out. Are you safe? Are you well? But that's a practiced response. That's not an automatic response. Automatic response is, what the? It's a negative response is the automatic response. A practiced response, a practiced peaceful response comes from, I'm going to practice not being attached to my stuff and not identifying myself with the thing that I think that somebody just damaged. So somebody just hurt my car. Yeah, so what? Are you safe? Are you well? Okay. You've been the quote-unquote victim of an accident, and now there's something to do about that. But you didn't participate in it. A lot of times in life, though, we're victims of other things that we could participate in, and we are choosing not to participate in. The next step, this is actually a step up, even though it's down below, is high participation, high attachment, and we're going to call that controlling. High participation, you're actively involved in your life, and you're very attached to the way things happen, how they turn out. I'm going to make this turn out the way I want it to turn out. I'm determined it's going to happen the way I want it to happen. So, in that case, you wind up controlling life. Sometimes we call that a type A personality. Hi, my name is John, and I can be a type A personality. You're supposed to say, hi, John. Because we all can move into this place from time to time. How many of you know you move into that place from time to time? You know, and it doesn't turn out, and you get frustrated, and you're not happy when it didn't turn out. Sorry?
Right there.
Right there. Okay, right now?
Right now.
Right, and you want the microphone?
I'm just visiting.
That's right. And then high participation, low attachment, I'm going to call that engaged. You're engaged in life. But we could call that a lot of different things. What this means is you're participating in your life, you're actively working on the things in your life, and you've got low attachment. If it doesn't work out, okay, I'm going to move on to the next thing. I'm not attached to this working out. It does not have to be successful for me to feel good about myself. Here, if it doesn't turn out, you don't feel good about yourself. The result doesn't happen. What you want your kids to do, if it doesn't happen, if they're not behaving the way you want them to behave, that's this. You're high attached to it and you're participating. And if you're not participating, you're actually still participating because you're forcing yourself to sit on your hands. It's okay, they asked me not to talk to them about that anymore, but I'm still thinking about it. So you know what? Thinking about it still counts. It still counts as participating and high attachment. So engaged is low attachment, high participation. High participation, you're actively working in the thing, but you're not attached to it. And this is a continuum. It's not that you're static. It's not that you're on one place in this particular continuum. You can move around from time to time. When things irritate you, you can probably tell that's an indicator that you're in one of these three as opposed to engaged, because your irritation usually comes from some kind of attachment. So the thing to do in life is to move yourself to a low attachment, high participation as a conscious thought, as a practice. I'm going to practice not being attached, and I'm going to practice fully engaging in my life. This is a way to start. Say, okay, I'm going to engage in my life. I'm going to put my hands up and fully participate in my life.